that's life. You
Yeah.
can't. Not every game is gonna be for you, and not you're not gonna vibe with every design decision. Like
Yeah.
you might find a game that other people might not like. You might love it. So
Hmm.
I know I have games that are like that.
Yeah, right now, Overcooked, the Overcooked series and Moving Out they're kind of my underdog games right now. They're not too popular. They're kind of just right to where they're going to get sequels, and I'm going to love them to death. But I'm thinking that
I,
maybe the Overcooked's next game might be the one to put them on the mainstream list. But I don't know. In a way I kind of hope not, but in a way I hope they do. But I really hope number three they really just kind of do everything they can possibly think of, just make a humongous game out of it. Of course, not do too much because you don't want to end up like Crash Bandicoot 4, where you have so many levels that are way too long that could have been reduced down to smaller sections. I don't know how you
well,
felt
yeah.
about Grand Theft Auto 4. I mean, sorry, Crash Bandicoot 4.
No, I was gonna say actually. Speaking of that, that is one thing that a lot of devs don't seem to get right. No, well, not every dev seem to get right. It's the length of time
Yeah.
for something. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't want something to overstay its welcome. You want something to just be good enough, like in terms of time that it takes the player to go through, and yeah,
And
it's a fine balance.
yeah, the original trilogy of Crash Bandicoot was just perfect. The length and everything for the level designs was wasn't too short, wasn't too long. Um, but Crash Bandicoot 4, you get these levels that are just ungodly long, and then it kind of introduces that attention span problem that I have. I get in the middle of the level and I'm not even, I'm halfway done and there's still just so much to go through and I'm trying to do a speed run. I'm like, now I'm thinking about Star Wars. It's just, I don't know, that might be a very specific problem for me, but it's just, you know, I try so hard to just kind of make adjustments to where it's not as long, but I also want to remain in my gameplay standards because I don't want something to be too easy, but I also don't want it to be too long. It's just trying to find that medium, is kind of a struggle a lot when it comes to certain games.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear that. I think maybe for you, the a checkpoint system and certain types of games works really well, where basically your goal is to get to the next checkpoint, and you'll probably feel accomplished that like you did something by getting to the next checkpoint rather than having this big long trek for what you have to do essentially.
Well, at least sectioned off. I mean, checkpoints isn't really the problem. I just, I get into a kind of perfectionist mode where I want to totally dominate a section of the game. But then if I have to totally dominate the next section, that kind of discourages me from wanting to perfect the first section. Kind of like, it's similar to Elden Ring. You got, there's a fight called Malekith. Yeah, the Beast, Clergyman, and
Yeah.
Malekith, two totally different boss fights. I
Oh
ended
my
up,
God, yeah.
I ended up, kind of mastering both of them. I feel like I was over leveled a little bit. It's not like I killed them in a few hits. It's just It was one of those situations where I had to level up to 100, and I know I could have handled the fight at 55. I just wanted to get my attack input up because that was the only way I could because I had my weapon all the way maxed out, and basically there's nothing else I could have done. And so I like my favorite part of the fight was the Beast Clergyman, and I didn't like Malekith as much. I think Beast Clergyman reminded me a lot of a classic Dark Souls boss compared to Malekith, which is more like a Dark Souls 3 boss, I guess, is the way to
Mhm.
really kind of
I,
describe
I
it.
I think I see what you mean. Malekith was definitely a lot more flashy and moving around a
Yeah.
lot, whereas the Beast Clergyman was more grounded.
Yeah, and I felt like his moveset was a lot more satisfying to dominate and eventually defeat. And then you get to Malakath, and like Malakath, and obviously he's significantly different. I thought that was really weird for a boss with two phases. Usually the second phase is the same as the first phase,
You
just
have
with
to
more
learn a
attacks.
few new moves, yeah, but
Yeah,
not a completely different, like literally completely different moveset.